This is from my good friend Nasty Nas. Shouts out to Nas, man. Ricky G says Jokic is the best player in the world right now. That's b-ball truth, and every NBA player would tell you that. That's not a knock on Steph, Giannis, or any other superstar. Emotions is a killer. Nas says, how do y'all actually determine who the best in the world, or who the best in the world? Because to me, it seems as though y'all just call whichever superstar who most recently won a championship best in the world, and that doesn't make sense to me. I think this is important because right now, and I think going forward, this is what we'll see for NBA seasons to come. Yo, there's a lot of outlandish numbers right now. There's a lot of outlandish numbers right now. So how are people determining best in the world?
I'm gonna be honest. I don't. One, recency bias is a part of it. Winning bias is a part of it. I think the biggest year that was the most prevalent was when Kawhi won it, in my humble opinion. But for me, the way I rank players, it's not really like a set criteria on what you have to be the best in the world. I think it's just relative to the competition, and like you just this or that, this or that, this or that type shit, and you just kind of figure out the rankings that way. So I personally don't have a set criteria. So.
For me, I do value winning. I do value a lot of clutch moments. I value playoffs significantly more than regular season, and that criteria can often lead to the best player in the world on the championship team. Oh my God, let me start that over. That criteria can often lead to the best player who won the championship because you have to perform well in the playoffs to win a championship most of the time. However, that's not always the case, and I don't unfairly criticize players like a Luka, for example, or when Ja got injured against Golden State, for example, and these motherfuckers is averaging 30, if not 40. Or like Devin Booker, I wasn't harping on him still potentially being worse than a D-Mitch because he didn't win the championship when he outperformed pretty much everybody out there. So I think the problem though is people like change. If I have to speak for the general public, people like change. People don't like the same name being repeated. It's why the MVP award is total bullshit because Kellerman hit it on the head. Shout out to Max Kellerman. A miss you on first thing. No bullshit. LeBron should have like 10 MVP awards. Like, and I know that's gonna annoy a lot of you. LeBron should have, like, if MVP meant to what it's supposed to just straight up mean and or was lingo for best in the world, LeBron has like 10 MVPs. But because niggas have to push their agendas, tell their stories, or want certain shit to happen just straight up, it's a whole different conversation when it comes to that, let alone best in the world. I do agree with the tweet. Best in the world, just for a lot of people, is who's the superstar that won the chip. For me, I will admit that often is the case considering my criteria, but there is definitely certain examples where I don't think it applies. 2020, 2019 being the two prolific ones.
2022 was so weird because no one made the argument when Steph won it.
Yeah,
I
think I brought that shit up too.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah. I just find it weird because that is typically the case. Whoever like is the best player on the championship team, best in the world. But when Curry did it, Jokic, Giannis type shit.
Even LeBron, like say you said with 2020 when LeBron did it, no one said it was. I don't think nobody said LeBron was the best in the world. It's just, and no one wanted to give the credit to AD. So I think that was still the thing. I think it's so. One, Nas is completely right. That's all. That's typically what people will do. Whoever wins the finals MVP, if they were a dominant player, they typically go with that person. That's what I like to call a lazy casual. You're just going with the hype. Typically, what I do is off the wall shit. Whoever I think is dominating, nigga.
I know that's right.
I didn't say that. I regret not saying that. Continue. I wanted to say dominant.
Whoever's the most dominant, man. Luka, Jokic have been the best players in the league for me for a bit. And if it ain't been Luka and Jokic, it was Bron. Like, fuck is you talking about? I'm not about to cap in my rap. I might have been like, yeah, Giannis is playing dominantly, but I understand. I was pushing 80 over Giannis propaganda when that nigga won. I don't give a fuck about who just won. Nigga, you can't shoot a jumper. Run and dunk, man. Like, fuck is you talking about? That's what matters. The best player in the world is just that. The best player in the world.
I don't have any consistency. Don't try to test it. Don't try to figure out where I draw the lines. Don't try to figure out my formula. What I'm feeling, that it doesn't matter. It matters at that very moment.
Yeah.
I don't even give a fuck if a dude's been playing better. I'm still gonna tell y'all Luka's is the best. I really don't give a shit about none of that shit. I ain't gonna lie to you. It's what I feel. I don't even have to make sense. You could bring up when Swiper did that whole parade and campaign for Jokic being the best player in the world. Me
still doing it.
I mean, I really don't. Honestly, didn't give a fuck back then. Me, Giannis is better. Well, the defensive, I don't care, bro. That's just how I feel. How about that? At the end of the day, that's how I feel. And you can sit here and talk to you red in the face, and you can yell at that phone. But guess what I'm gonna tell you? Giannis better. You can sit here and yell at the phone till you blue in the face about Steph Curry. Guess what? Luka owns this league, nigga. I own this league. All right. I really don't give a fuck about none of that stuff. I don't know how to determine it, Nas. I just know for most of my life, LeBron has been better. You can talk about years before that. I really don't honestly give a fucking shit, to be honest with you, about who was better when LeBron wasn't better. But I know when he became better. And then you dibbled and dabbled throughout the rest of my life. But yeah, fuck all that shit.
I think the last 4 years, if there's something this generation or era of basketball is going to be remembered for, it's how uniquely open the best player in the world is. But in majority of NBA history, I don't think the tweeters would survive, because in my personal opinion, the best player in the world doesn't shift that often. I mean, it's quite Jordan, Hakeem, Jordan. You pick who you want between Shaq and other motherfuckers. Then you got your Tim v. Kobe. You pick one of the two. Then Braun shows up, and then it's been Braun until like Giannis or some shit. And then nowadays you can argue Giannis, Curry, Luka, Jokic. But man, I don't know. I am not for this recent thing. It started in like 2017, to be honest, when niggas was doing it with Kevin Durant. I am not for this idea that the best player is simply who wins the championship. It can be like damn near linear and cooperative. That's the word I'm looking for, with what your criteria is. But damn, sometimes I feel like you guys just ignore flagrant shit and make the argument he won a championship, because as Damo implied, that's the laziest argument you can have for anybody. Who won the championship? Therefore, he's the best player. It's lazy. It's lazy.
I do want to ask y'all something from this conversation, because I had a similar tweet about Kobe, because I think Kyrie said Kobe's my GOAT. Y'all can kick rocks type shit.
Yeah.
And I quote retweet because everyone was saying, man, Kobe never had an argument for the GOAT. And I just said, yo, I think the argument would be best player in the hardest era. And then the debates in the replies was, when was Kobe the best player in the NBA? I want to ask y'all, when was Kobe the best player in the NBA? If he was to y'all.
Kobe
never. If he never was, that's fine.
Crazy. Kobe never having a one season where he was the best is kind of absurd. I hope I don't need to debate that with people, but I will Kobe stand the fuck out. I think from really the latter half of 2002, certainly from 2002 to 2003 up until like 2009, I would argue Kobe Bryant was the best player. And that's gonna, hey man, cry.
I'm gonna say, yeah, probably
go ahead, cry, bro.
I would say probably 05, 06 range to 09, 2010, maybe. He was the best player in the world, in my opinion.
Yeah,
I ain't gonna lie, Kobe a lame.
There you go.
No, it was probably a season or two. I can't think of it off the top of my head, but I mean, it quickly transitioned to LeBron James. I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah.
I don't know.
The LeBron shit was real, and everybody here lived it. That's why I think the Kobe shit
the line stops at 10.
Bullshit.
I ain't gonna lie.
The nigga that told me say stop fanboying, bullshit. Souls hit it on the money. Any person that said Kobe in 2011, you're a nasty nigga. you're a nasty nigga. I was the guy that harped for Kobe until 2010. I looked at that nigga in Miami and said,
it's a wrap.
It's over.
It's a wrap.
He tried to get him back in 2012 or 2013, underrated season. Nah.
Not when LeBron's having his best season. Hell no.
And it's not. Let me also say this. It's not a bad thing too, though. Like being second to MJ isn't crazy right now. Like I was just on a timeline and somebody showed Jokic's numbers. Where the fuck did I just see that? Was that NBA.com? Jokic's numbers look fucking like
phenomenal.
They look like TOS. They look TOS. That's exactly what they look like.
30
I ain't
point
gonna lie.
triple-double. Pretty much.
But even how he ranks comparatively speaking in the league versus like other players, like it looks TOS. And if you come second to that,
what can you say?
Yeah,
that's fine.
that.
Game is game, nigga.
Like it is what it is. I don't know.
I don't know
bro.
if that's a comment to the Kobe shit, because I was even thinking, okay, fine, he didn't have like a long stretch of him being the definitively best player. But if you're top 3 for a whole decade, you're the best player of that decade, dog. I ain't gonna lie. Especially when it flip-flops in that decade as much as it did with Shaq, Tim Duncan, LeBron in the later half of that decade. Yeah, if you're top 3 consistently that whole 10-year stretch, top 2 arguably won in like 2 to 3 years, you're the best player of that fucking era, dog.
Case in point, Stephen Curry for like probably is going to be the next 10 years unless Curry just falls off a fucking cliff next season or some shit. I probably argue Curry from 2014 to 2024. You had to give the crown of the best player in the decade. You go Bron because either you like the peak, or you go Steph Curry because he was good the entire fucking time. It's crazy.